Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. It's time for our weekly Demo Shop Mod Collection recap video. Previously, I told you guys about a new secret demo shop located in Europe, specifically the Netherlands. I think I might have reported on that a little bit too early because now that shop has disappeared, or at least for US guys. So hey, if you're in the Netherlands or France, apparently the only two countries that place even shipped to, it wasn't all EU yet. Please let me know if you can still access the shop, because even a direct link from their old message now redirects me to the USA demo shop. So they've shadow banned us. We can't do the recaps. Don't worry, I'll find a way around it. I might have to use a VPN or something. So we'll keep it stateside today, starting with the mod collection. This week produced some interesting ones, but nothing that I felt really needed documented. So currently available, we have a 1954 Les Paul Custom, we've got a Modern, a 60 Standard, a Thunderbird bass, and an Ebony Special. The only thing really special that's left here is this 54. So at first when I saw this, I was like, okay, it's a white 54 Les Paul Custom. Generally they're black, they look like this. But then scrolling down here, you can see the rest of the guitar is actually creamed out. So it's like what you get when a guitar is aged a bit. Same thing goes for the headstock. However, when you get to the body, it's blinding white. So it's a white top with a cream back and sides. I didn't know how to feel about that. Like, it's interesting, but do I love it enough to document it? Well, here's where things get interesting. It's Alpine magic. We've seen that once before, so that means this is actually going to have a very slight snowy sparkle to it. So it's kind of cool for a December themed guitar. However, 54 customs are kind of expensive, $6,600 on this one. What this would have needed for me to have wanted to document it is Super 400 inlays, you know, this style. Here's a crude mock-up of what that would have been. Now that would have been worth buying and documenting. But now, just like we saw in the EU demo shop, a vintage prototype, now we have a 1984 Gibson Explorer in the mod collection. What's up with that? I told you guys, who knows what they have in there, and this is a designer series guitar. It would not surprise me if the guy who bought this didn't even realize it was actually from 1984. But this thing sold fast. And at $3,300, I think Gibson kinda got lucky. Generally, the Kahler version ones will sell for about $2,000 to $2,500 on the used market. But I guess there is something kind of interesting of getting a new old stock 84 Explorer. I mean, had this had been a stop bar tailpiece with an ABR1 bridge, I probably would have bought it too, just for the novelty factor. But the designer series had Explorers and Flying Vs. They had these weird, crazy graphics. I think there was around 30 or so. This is one of the okay examples. I mean, it's not the fanciest and most pretty design in the world, but it's a fancy design. My favorite part about this one is the matching white headstock. So this has me hopeful that, hey, maybe we'll see some vintage prototypes or just some old guitars in here. Because you got to remember, Nashville opened in 1975. We can have stuff technically up until that point, unless they have some really old Kalamazoo stuff, but I doubt Gibson wants to part with that. Perhaps the next most interesting one to be offered this week was Swamp Pearl. But it's their typical widow treatment. You've got like a dark blue right here. That definitely has a metallic nature to it with that sky blue binding. It's got that darker blue here and the light blue there. That works really well for the light blue inlays. And what on earth? They're doing the brown backplate again. What? It works a little bit better on this color scheme though. For me, I had just bought one that had blue binding. Now, granted, this is a light blue binding, but I've got so many guitars I need to review now. I've been busy buying stuff. I thought I would just leave this one for someone else, and it did not take long to sell. But I'm hoping that they start doing more custom exotic finishes like this one, the widow treatment on 54 customs next, because, you know, I guess I'm just kind of tired of reviewing Les Paul customs from the modern era. I want something a little bit different. So hopefully we get some more reissue style ones. But hey, how about this for Christmassy? So there were two Flying Vs this week, the 70s style ones that are all white, but they modified them with different colored pick guards and pickup rings. It looks like we got a Seymour Duncan and a Dirty Fingers pickup in it, but then they gave it the matching headstock. Kind of has North Star-like vibes. And then the other one, they decided to go blue, which is an acquired taste, and I'm sure it means something to someone. But I was here this week for when everything was just updating. Every time I refreshed the page, there was something else. And seeing these two, I was like, okay, that's interesting, but I think I'm going to hold out for a unicorn. Maybe there's something else better. But then when I was looking back through the sold listings, I was like, you know, if that has a painted headstock, I have reasons to believe it probably has a stinger too. And ladies and gentlemen, I was not wrong on that. Blue stinger on the back, whereas everything else was left white. Same thing was true on the yellow one, yellow stinger. But at a $400 premium, I mean, I could see how it'd be worth it to someone. I mean, you did get Lock and Grover tuner upgrade too. Next up, we have a 60s Les Paul Standard in what they called Satin Iced Tea. So I was looking at this and I was like, okay, it's kind of got some Slash vibes to it. And this is just another regular Standard. It's not nothing too special. And ooh. So they gave this the whole widowed treatment. They just sprayed the entire thing over in an ambered over lacquer. So it makes that look extra dark. And it makes that look like, hey, this is a now 40-year-old instrument that was played. And that's how they got the binding to be that dark color. I just wish they would have went for a full-on gloss instead of satin. But if that wasn't enough, they have like this aged, crusty looking old tuners and hardware. It looks fantastic. I mean, look at that bridge. For a brand new guitar, that pulls off the whole relic hardware really well without aging the body like some guys don't like. And for the initial brand new price of these, now even cheaper than a brand new one, that was definitely a nice pickup for somebody who wanted one of these. They had one of their 335s that they put one of the Melody Maker style vibrolas on it. Kind of cool, you don't see that every day. And now this one, as far as Les Paul tributes go, I was tempted on this one. I like the orange finish, I like the BFG style knobs, but how's this for an it factor? Look at our headstock. They have the old pre-war Gibson style logo on it. How cool is that? I think that's the first time they've ever done that modification within this shop. However, I just decided I didn't want to pay that much, but someone will enjoy that. Oh, and this was another fantastic deal. 50 standard Goldtop with the rare triple P90 pickup configuration. It came from the factory that way, so you don't have to be sad that you modified your own guitar. And it was offered at a significant discount, $2,100 for the 50 standard Goldtop in that configuration. You can only generally get that out of the custom shop, like true P90s. So that was a great deal for somebody, potentially even flippable if that's what you're into. This Wine Red Studio kind of had a cool blacked out vibe, like it is such a dark finish, especially with the black hardware. And then they had this Thunderbird bass in smooth brown. I mean, I've been really into Firebirds lately, so maybe a Thunderbird will happen, but smooth brown doesn't do much for me, but hey, at least we have the cool Pearloid pickguard. So that wraps up things there. Let's check out the US demo shop now. A couple of freaks within this one this week, but nothing too crazy. So they have another decent deal on one of these Gibson 60th anniversary SGs. If somebody's interested in mine, I'll do it for $5,000 through PayPal. Just contact me. But an okay price for one with a warranty. This 335 in aged Pelham Blue though, kind of changes things up. It's a custom shop one, so it's going to be more expensive than the USA. But it's got a nice aged Pelham Blue finish to it. It's got some light aging to the hardware, probably a VOS finish would be my guess. But hey, look at that. This is not a demo shop modified guitar with a stinger. This just shipped with a stinger because they didn't have to cover up the Gibson custom logo. And our serial number's still white. They just stamped a demo. That's a nice looking guitar. It does have some finish checking though and some light nicks and dings that you'll have to live with. Back down to the USA 335. They put two Pearloid pickguards on it. It's an acquired taste, but now it's matched on both sides. Both F-holes are kind of hidden. But wait a minute. Oh, it's a lefty. I didn't realize it. Looking at a lefty always shows you just how slanted a bridge actually is. Why are they doing that for the lefties? Why are they putting double pickguards on them? Because they don't do that on any of the right-handed ones. It always just seems to be the left-handed ones. Probably to trick a righty into buying it. Like they don't even put lefty in the title. I feel like they should because somebody might not read the description close enough because that only appears to be listed right there. Like what if they skimmed over that and didn't quite look at this normally, because the pickguard always tricks me because they sell everything as is and don't really take returns much anymore. I'm not really sure how strongly they enforce that no return policy for as-is guitars, which is everything nowadays. However, this SG had an interesting defect. You can actually see a seam line showing, which it looks really bad in that photo. Like, is the guitar cracking apart? I doubt it. I mean, in these photos, you don't see it at all. It's just something when you get it in the light, you can probably see it. However, at this price, I would probably just choose a brand new one for not that much more or a different one from their demo shop. But this tribute had me convinced it was one of those standards. It looks the part. It looks nice. They've got the covered pickups over it now. And then when you get to the back, You've got this type of wood grain. It's got a little bit of flame patterning to it. It just looked like a nice player for somebody. Decent wood grain as well. But if you like cool wood grain, check out this SG tribute. It's okay on the top. Everything about the back is a yes. You've got the flame here, and even the maple neck is a bit unusually flamed for this particular model. You can find that occasionally. It doesn't necessarily look like it's particularly uniformly flamed, but I love that whole dark candy cane striping it's got. I thought the 60 standard looked fantastic in this finish, with this top converted over to black plastics. If nothing else, if you own this color, swap it over to black. It looks great. I guess the gold hardware also helps too. It brings out the rest of the finish. That mahogany body actually is pretty cool too. And this thing's still available at a discount, $2,200. Go snap that up. And then look at this other tribute. Cool wood grain. Like maybe not traditional, like you've got some braces on it right here, a whole mess of something there. I'm sure some guys wouldn't like that and they would cover it over in a gold top, but that's what I like in a top. However, the back is just as sporadic is a nice way to put it. You're either going to love this one or hate it. But now let's wrap up here with the sold listings this week. At the time of recording anyway. So here's one of those special tributes in metallic forest, one of the few custom colors this week. This actually started life as one of those Les Paul Ravens that we did a review and demo on, a Guitar Center family exclusive. To be honest, I'm kind of sad I didn't click on this one because I didn't realize it had the matching headstock. That's kind of cool. However, these things shipped with white decals. It almost looks like we have like an off greenish one. I think in this case, it would have looked cooler with black because having the matching green headstock and then white decals doesn't match the whole blacked out vibe. So black decals would have looked cool. But I will say this mystic green finish is way nicer than the stock black one. So whoever got that, I hope you enjoy it. However, I think they were asking quite a considerable premium on that for the refinish. They generally do for the special tributes. Next up, second week in a row, Gibson incorrectly advertises something. This was listed as a Gibson Les Paul Jr. Satin Ebony demo. I mean, it's kind of a junior, but no, this is a Les Paul CM, and they've sold enough of these that they should have advertised it correctly. I mean, it's even right here on the dress rod cover. There's a big difference between a junior and a CM, because somebody might have bought this thinking it was modified from a regular junior. They put a maple top on it that's carved, put a humbucker. So I could see how that might have been slightly misleading for someone because that's a lot to pay for a CM. However, when you look at the asking prices of other ones, I guess it's maybe not that crazy. Those things are definitely going up in asking price at least. Next up, we had one of these ES275s in their custom variation. I did the P90 prototype and I really liked that guitar. But this one with the custom inlay on the headstock, the multiply bindings, all the other cool fancy appointments. I'll be honest, I didn't even see this one get listed. Otherwise, I probably would have been interested in this one, especially at $3,000. I feel like they sold that one a little bit short. Other guys are asking for like $4,100, some are at $4,000. There was definitely a little bit of meat left on the bone for that one. And now for perhaps the absolute worst one in the demo shop this week. Poor Les Paul Special in olive drab green. My guess is this got damaged and they're like, man, it's got this big ding on it. We might as well just age it. Like, I love the hardware on it. I love what they're doing with that. I'm not sure if that's a new technique that they're playing with or it's just like a bad batch that got left in some water or something. But those tuners and the tops of them, they're looking magnificent. Now the finish wear aging, just no, like... They've got the general area right, it's just not the general patterns you see. Maybe it's because the wood still looks so new, they need to dirty that up or something. But play wear does happen here. Generally, it's just in like a small shape right here, but it just depends how the player anchors their arms. And I guess that could happen right there if you have a crazy strummer guy. It looks like they've got some wear here. I mean, if you adjust the contrast, I think you can see that there is some areas of wear right here as well, where they've just kind of wore through the clear coat. And then if you have a keen eye, you can see they also kind of scratched it up back here. They've got a ding, and they wore the finish off the side of the neck. I mean, it was at a discount. They weren't asking a premium for that aging job, so it could have been priced worse, but whatever. All right, troglodytes, I hope you enjoyed the recap this week. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will catch you tomorrow on the next episode. Take care.